What's up, board game people? Today we're going to look back and forward at the exact same time. Don't try that, you'll go cross-eyed. What I meant is we're going to take a close look at Dungeon Crusade, which funded a reprint on Kickstarter in 2021. So why do a campaign guide after all this time? Stick with me, you're about to find out. I don't get any money from game creators for making my videos. This one isn't an exception. I make them so we can all find awesome games that we might have otherwise missed out on. If I get something wrong or we disagree about something, let's talk in the comments. So why do a campaign guide for a game that funded well over a year ago? The reprint of Dungeon Crusade is nearing full production in the close of their pledge manager. I didn't have a channel back when this game was on Kickstarter, but after I was pointed towards it by Jason, a viewer, I spent an hour crawling through everything I could find and I immediately late-backed. In short, I think this game could use some love, and I know many of you are fans of RPGs and dungeon crawls. This was pitched to me as if it was Diablo made into a board game, and honestly that's what I found. So enjoy! Dungeon Crusade now tells its story over two parts. Your character's life begins on the Avalon Adventure board game, which is a thematic choose-your-own-adventure type game. This part of the journey is completely optional and can be skipped altogether, but there are advantages to completing it. The heroes traverse through the lands of Avalon, attempting to recover 3 runes of eternity spread throughout the Isles. Once they've retrieved the 3 runes and returned to a place called Hope's Reach, the heroes prevail, and then they can be used in the Dungeon Crusade core game. The Avalon adventure is completely optional, but it may give characters a leg up, as they get to keep any loot, gold, or potions they discover. From there, the Dungeon Crusade begins. Dungeon Crusade is an old-school dungeon crawler for 1 to 6 players that runs about 5 hours on the very high side for, newer, slower players, and then about 3-ish hours once you know what you're doing. Now, I know this is on the longer side, but you're getting a full dungeon crawl experience in this time. This can easily be broken up into multiple sessions if you like. There are even popular variants of this game that run about 45 minutes and offer a full dungeon experience. You begin the game in a little village that's soon to face impending doom of being overrun by monsters. You get a short shopping phase and then it's off to the dungeon with you. You head into your delve with a series of quests to complete. You may pick up more tasks from the tavern to help you further modify your adventure and provide some extra loot. Once you've completed all the level 1 quests, you return to the town for a celebration day. Celebration days will allow you to level up, gain new abilities, buy and sell, craft, restock potions, even partake in games at the House of Chance. These games are small mini-games which you can bet on to increase your gold. It's not all fun and games though. While you delve the dungeon deep, the monsters have a mind of their own. They will reinforce, patrol along unpredictable paths, and they may even take a mind to raid the town. If a minion converts to a raiding minion and escapes the dungeon, they'll wreak havoc in the town, raising the town's terror level. When the terror level of the town hits its maximum, the town is overrun, and it's game over for you and your adventurers. But fear not, you have a path to victory as well. Should you manage to complete all the quests you've undertaken, you'll defeat the dungeon, silencing its minions and saving the town. The meat and potatoes of all this is the dungeon itself. Here you'll encounter traps, find treasures, locked doors, keys to some of those locked doors, ores to mine, minions to hunt, guardians to defeat. You gain gold, loot of all rarities, you'll have encounters, contract status effects. You'll pick the locks on doors, you'll wish you hadn't. The possibilities are near endless with this game. The core box contains a double-sided dungeon map representing 2 unique locations which you can choose to delve. With the double dungeon expansion pack, that number rises to 4 total dungeons to explore. 4 dungeons may not sound like much, but those 4 dungeons offer near endless adventures. Dungeon Crusade is set up not just as an on-the-rails dungeon crawler, but as a dungeon crawler system that allows for customization of almost every aspect of the game. You craft unique experiences and challenges that match your level of play, or try the wits of even the most hardy dungeoneers. Now, I know I'm just scratching the surface here, but I could be here all day talking about the systems, mechanics, and the customization the game affords. So with a basic knowledge of the game, let's take a look at the pledge levels available in the Late Pledge Manager. Just a note, I'm looking at the Pledge Manager for late backing, so you'll be seeing shots of the Pledge Manager and the Kickstarter page in this video. There are 3 pledge levels available in the Pledge Manager, and the 2 main pledge levels have not increased in price since the Kickstarter. First up, at $20, with a $5 increase over the Kickstarter campaign, you can get the Crusader Upgrade Pack. This is for backers of the original Dungeon Crusade campaign, way back in 2016. For $140, you get the Crusader of the Realm Edition, that is the core edition of Dungeon Crusade, and comes with the Avalon Adventure game and Dungeon Crusade packaged together. Finally, at $240, you get the Slayer of the Realm Edition. This pledge comes with all add-ons released during the campaign. I believe the only add-on not included here are the quest level tokens. So simple pledges, let's look at the add-ons. First up, the only add-on not included in the Slayer of the Realm package are the quest level tokens. These run $5 and are used to mark the chambers of the dungeon to denote what level that chamber is. For $40, the Double Dungeon Expansion Pack is available that adds another double-sided dungeon board, 2 new dungeons, more main quests, and new quest items. For $20, you can get the Hero Expansion Pack that includes 6 new heroes, their cards, bases, and clips. For $12, you get the Plastic Arrow bases. For $15, you get the Expert Monster Difficulty deck. For another $15, you get the Heroic Monster Difficulty deck. For $8, you get the Skull Patrol dice. For another $8, you get the Monster Footprint Patrol dice. At $22, you get the Avalon Adventure. This again is for backers of the original version only. And for $25, you get the House of Chance game bundle, adding 3 more games to the House of Chance. Shipping estimates are available at the bottom of the campaign page. You'll be charged for them now if you go through the Pledge Manager. My shipping in the US was very close to the shipping estimates in the chart. So let's talk over my thoughts on the game. There's so much here to go over, I could give you 3 videos on my thoughts. I won't do that, so I'll attempt to get as much as possible in here without ranting. First up, let's go over one of the elephants in the room, cost. This isn't on the cheaper side of dungeon crawlers these days, and it's a box that's not chock full of plastic either. I don't believe there are any minis to be found here. There are a ton of standees though. For you standee lovers, this is going to be paradise. So, where's the value? Well, let's start at the high level. This is really 2 games in one, the Avalon Adventure game and Dungeon Crusade. This box is absolutely chocked full of components too. You're getting 40 plus standees, the double-sided large dungeon map, boards for characters, the village, and other things, hundreds of cards, hundreds of tokens, the Avalon map, the adventure game board, the list goes on and on. So the components comprise quite a bit of the value here. The other value is going to be a perceived value. Perceived value is subjective and a personal opinion. What you're getting is a solid dungeon crawler full of well-refined mechanics and systems. It's a framework that allows for near infinite customization. More on customization soon. And it's a game fostering a community that's already pumping out content with the framework. In addition to all that, you're not getting the first edition of a game. You're getting the second edition where they've taken the time to do what they needed to do. They've updated the rulebook to make it slimmer, faster, and easier to use. They've done a ton of balancing and tweaking. Everything is starting to settle into place for this game now. This is a passion project that spanned nearly a decade. It's evolved and is continuing to do so. Roger, the creator, lives and breathes Dungeon Crusade. His passion and dedication to the game is so evident through listening to him talk and reading his constant updates delivered through the comments section on the Kickstarter page. More importantly, this is a world that he seems to genuinely enjoy playing in. Sure, fans need to enjoy it, but when the creator does, you'll get what we have here. Roger's always tweaking, adjusting, and pushing the limits of the system to see what comes of it, and great things have. The price may be off-putting to some, and the value is partially going to be perceived, but for me, I think the value is absolutely there. I'm grateful for the price of the all-in. The Slayer of the Realm Edition comes with a substantial discount over buying the items individually, and that all-in price is substantially lower than many of the games I've backed this year. So what about all this customization? If you know me, you know the last thing I like having to do is create content for games I bought. So why would I favor this customization system? Well, to put it simply, it's simple and it works. The customization of difficulty, game length, and everything in between is done very rapidly at setup. You work through the template provided, and your game is set up and ready to play according to your own tastes. The quests, side quests, and tasks all differ and are mostly random. You can have the village store well stocked or starve for items for a harder challenge. The terror track for the village can be short or long or anything in between. Want a real challenge? Play with the expert or heroic monster decks. In so many games, if you messed with or tweaked any amount of things like this, the whole game would crumble into a mess. They're designed along a very tight formula that's not meant to be played with. Here, the individual systems are completely and easily scalable. It just works. I like that the dungeon's alive, too. The monsters patrol, they spawn in, you can have unexpected encounters, you may be teleported across the dungeon at a moment's notice. When things happen, they have a reason for happening, and it makes sense. Immersion here is quite high, and it remains so throughout. Celebration days are an interesting break from the dungeon crawl as well. They can be completed quickly if you like, getting you right back into the action, or you can slow down a bit, enjoy the break, and return to the dungeon refreshed, better prepared, and stronger than ever. Play the way you want. Another elephant in the room, at least for me, was the visual clutter. I'm big on how a game looks on the table. I don't mind table hogs. In fact, it usually intrigues me when I see a game sprawled out across a table. But when things look cluttered, the hair on the back of my neck stands up. Visual clutter to me can be a warning. Sometimes it means what you're seeing is unnecessarily complicated. Or it can mean that the visual clutter is purely fluff, that it's an unnecessary distraction from what's usually a weak game. Here, what I describe as a mild visual clutter isn't either of those. It's the combination of all the refined systems being present on the table at once. There's a symphony to the chaos. There's visual cues everywhere that help mitigate having to flip back and forth through a rulebook constantly. The clutter all has a use, and it does its job. Another small note on visual clutter is that you'll encounter it for the first time looking at the campaign page. I found the page a bit hard to navigate. The information you're looking for is likely there, thankfully. It's just not really well visually broken up. I tend to scroll up and down 100 times when making these guides, and I constantly miss the sections I was looking for when browsing the page. It's all there, just take your time and enjoy the read. The colors on one or two of the dungeon maps are a bit, shall we say, too vibrant for my tastes. But I must admit, after looking at them for so long, they've really grown on me. Honestly, even some of those more colorful maps are what you'd see looking down at a Diablo 1 or 2 dungeon completely top down. Combat in the game is snappy enough that it never becomes a hack and slash. It also has the crunch I look for. Smart choices and smart tactics will allow you to pull off amazing maneuvers and feel like the hero you want your character to be. Another thing that you should be warned about is while you can play with any number of adventurers, it's highly recommended that you take along 6 characters, no matter how many actual players are participating. Again, the refinement of systems and the iterated layout of your character and their abilities makes it easy to play all 6 characters to their fullest without anyone just becoming a sword swinger. I'd go as far as to say you can solo this game with 6 characters and enjoy the experience. So summing everything up is really hard on this one. I've only just begun to scratch the surface of this game. Thankfully, Roger has taken up video creation on his own. He's put together quite a few very informative and well-made videos that'll help you hop in, understand the game, and get playing faster than fumbling through a rulebook. I highly recommend you check out Groovus Games' channel linked in the video description. If, after watching some of his videos, you have questions, he's extremely active in the comments section and super helpful. Honestly, Roger and I have never spoken, but I've never heard one bad thing about him. Everyone who has played the game, or is even just waiting for the reprint, has given me beaming reviews of the game and the creator, and to me that speaks volumes. So, if you're a fan of old school dungeon crawlers, if you can look past not having a pile of minis and justify the cost to yourself, if you need a game that you can whip out at game night and play a one-off scenario of saving some poor village from being overrun by terrible creatures, this may be right up your alley. This is a dungeon crawler that lacks the almighty campaign, so for me it opens it up to playing with my gaming group, who can't commit to full campaigns. I believe for my group this will be a huge hit. In the end, make sure you examine if you need something like this in your collection. Is there some hole it fills? Or can you see situations when you would play this? If the answer is yes, go check out the Pledge Manager or the campaign page. I've linked them both in the video description. I think you'll like what you find. The Pledge Manager for Dungeon Crusade will remain open throughout October. Make sure you get there and act quick if you want in on this one. So that's it. It's a bit of an odd one, or really just a first for our channel, covering something that funded so long ago, but I truly feel this game deserves the attention, and I feel like some of you that are dungeon crawler nuts like me might be interested in taking a look at this one. Thanks again to Jason for bringing this one to my attention. We're coming up on another extremely busy week. We have campaigns launching, news, and our monthly upcoming campaigns video coming out this week. Please make sure you subscribe and help our little channel grow and reach more people in our corner of the hobby. Thank you so much to everyone watching and commenting. If you want to keep the conversation going, hop on our Discord linked in the video description and say hello. Have a great rest of your weekend and play something crazy tonight.